Oh, we have some fellow action as well. Interesting.
There we go. That's better. Fixed it. All right. We'll go ahead and get started here. Welcome, everybody, to the TANCouncil meeting. This will be, I think it's our 31st meeting here today. Just a quick update on the agenda. Introduction and welcome. We're going to talk about the last meeting's action items and recap. The TANIP Teleissuance Rebate Program. We'll do a brief overview of the 2026 budget for the TANCouncil, and then some open Q&A. So just going to get started here. For today's meeting, we'll have a look at our current TANIP, discuss the 2026 budget, and then we'll round off with some opening Q&A. First, let's start with the overview of the TANCouncil and the purpose of these recurring meetings. These recurring meetings serve 5 critical functions. They provide transparency to our community. They create a structured forum for proposal discussions, enabling authors to present to the council and community and to discuss, debate, and refine formal proposals for voting with consensus. They enable regular platform updates. They ensure consistent communication amongst the council members. And finally, they allow direct community engagement through question and answer sessions. The TANCouncil is a local governance organization within the Telcoin platform. Together, we serve as a provider and administrator of collective goods and services within the jurisdictional domain of the Telcoin Application Network, or TAN. The TANCouncil, with our 6 members, makes decisions related to TAN improvements and policies through the TANIP process. We need 5 out of 6 votes to approve proposals within a 120-hour voting period. Our primary duties are to allocate TAN issuance on TAN for stakers and developers, to harvest, plan and finance development of the Telcoin application network. Our key responsibilities include reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, attending these bi-weekly meetings, providing regular community updates, monitoring TAN systems, enforcing operational rules. We'll use Slack for day-to-day communication and the forums for informal proposal discussions, and Snapshot Vote for formal voting. These recurring council meetings also for proposal discussions and deliberation and refinement, and then obviously, like I said, the Snapshot for formal voting. With that said, overall the TAN Council has authority over minor harvesting and planning and financing TAN infrastructure. So just a brief recap of the meeting from that perspective for last week. We discussed the TANIP rebate model and action items and the proposal that we were asked the community for some more feedback. Marcus looked at the script, and I think Leo, you did as well, about implementation. And we decided to send that vote to Snapshot Vote. And then we looked at also edge cases and implementation details for this build out. We also talked a little bit about the leftover issuance from last year, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail when we talk about the budget. And then we sent like I said, the TANIP to Snapshot right after that. So we'll start, I guess, with the TANIP that we have currently. So that was sent to Snapshot. And I think it passed a few days ago, but that is now officially live and in the implementation phase. So not live, I apologize, but has passed Snapshot and is now in the implementation phase. So thank you to Cody for getting that posted up and on his first one and getting that vote done. That was great, and pretty smooth process there. And then we'll be working with Marcus and Leo and everybody on what implementation and timeline looks like. So stay tuned for. We'll do an announcement on when that goes live again. Just a reminder, this is the TANIP trading rebate program, which is, and to break it down, it is a program that issues TAN TEL rewards for trading at your referrals trading activities on the Telcoin wallet. It is capped at the amount of trading that you have. So you cannot earn more than you spent in trading fees. So in a perfect scenario, you are essentially earning as much as you spent in trading. So it's if done correctly and you have the amount staked correctly, you're having essentially a kickback for your trading fees. This is, as we've talked about, is a temporary, not temporary, but is the first step in kind of the rebate program as we've brought it back to fruition. Um, as we move towards mainnet launch, this will evolve even further, but this is just a start to get the more action on the wallet, and then also get people back into the ecosystem as we ramp up mainnet. So really excited to get this off the ground from that aspect. Anything anybody else wants to add?
Just to say, we'll give plenty of notice before it goes live. We've got a few things to, changes to make, and then that includes like deployment scripts and everything. So a few things to iron out on our side to make sure everything's smooth and according to plan. But then we will set a go live date with plenty of notice, and we will circulate that far and wide. So stay tuned. But yeah, that should find you basically. Um,
Awesome.
and looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, Parker's in the chat. Parker, welcome. Go ahead.
This is my debut
What's
at the
going
old
on?
TANCouncil meeting, which is I should have been here at least one more time before this, but
You're
stoked
good, man.
to
Welcome.
finally join. You guys are killing it. So yeah, the new program. I think a couple questions. First one is, um, so is it pro rata tell based off of the total fees percentage of fees you have across all stakers? That's my first question.
Yeah.
Go,
So
Leo.
it works exactly the same as before. The only the only change we'll be making is we're basically bringing in one more cap, which will be the final calculation, which will compare how much you and your referees paid in fees in that period, and then we'll cap you at that. So if you weren't going to earn more than you paid in fees previously, you'll still earn that much. If you're going to earn more than you and your referees paid in fees, you'll be stopped at that amount basically. So no net profits, but you have the chance to earn back basically up to the amount you spent trading that week.
And so what you're saying is free trading fees de facto paid back Intel.
Yeah,
Yep.
up
Well,
to,
that's
yeah.
pretty marketable if you ask me.
That's the idea, yeah.
And so that brings me to my second question. How are you going to
Mhm.
market this? How can I be of service? And yeah, I think it's a fun thing to be able to market.
Definitely. I think it'll be very similar to before. A lot of action on the socials. The original proposal and its implementation got a lot of interest, so we're kind of hoping that will kind of keep strong. And yeah, if I don't think there's anything in particular from the platform council we're planning at the moment, but um, if you guys have any ideas, we're always all ears. So yeah.
Go ahead, Ty.
Hi guys. No, I should add that the existing caps will apply. That's my understanding. So if you've already had Tell rewards through the app from the previous initiative, then that will still apply going towards your overall cap against staking amount, your staking total.
No, we'll be redeploying from scratch, so everyone starts on a clean slate. We thought that was the fairest way of doing it.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. What can you elaborate on the fairness deliberation?
Um, the previous cap there refers to the lifetime issuance. So people can earn kind of up to the previous lifetime issuance, and we, yeah, just because we kind of stopped it and then didn't know when we were going to start it again, we thought it kind of fairest to start everyone afresh on a clean slate. We
Yeah,
haven't
we've
actually started implementing that, so
yeah.
it is still up for discussion.
So your
But
rewards total on the app will be cleared. That's what you're saying.
Not
no,
that.
No.
this
So that
isn't.
includes referral fees and everything too.
Right. So there was in the past, Ty, if you remember, the rewards amount, what like again when TANIP started, it wasn't necessarily. Sorry, I got my son with me. It wasn't necessarily like it didn't track that in real time. I guess I would say. We ran the spreadsheet and then we had a graph and that was how it was distributed, kind of like kind of like Telex, similar process. So the idea is we will distribute kind of what that issuance is and the cap amount by via wallet and go from there, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about when you look at the earn page on the app, you've got your total staking amount, and then
Right.
you've got rewards.
Your rewards. So these are two different programs, right? So that reward balance, if you recall, is the stake and refer program, which is through the actual wallet, and that's where you have the different levels of cap, right? The 34%, whatever, 34, 36% based on how much you have capped. The TANIP one rebate program has always been based off of essentially the um, it uses that metric, but it is not that issuance is separate. It's based, if you recall the way that it was done previously, the lifetime issuance cap was determined specifically for this program, not as a total including that. So they were two parallel programs that didn't have the same cap. Am I explaining that correctly, Leo?
Yeah, they are two separate. So very similar mechanics. We're incentivizing very similar things, but it's done slightly differently, and they are two separate schemes, basically.
Because that was the total that got increased when you got the rewards from TANIP1
Yeah,
that came into
so
your wallet total.
Yeah, TANIP1 that was dropped, that was airdropped to the wallet, so that it didn't go into that staked amount. Just so we're all on the same
No,
page.
it didn't go into the staked amount, but it went into your rewards that were
Yeah,
and
you're it
and
that. Sorry, go ahead, Ty.
and my understanding was it was that total that you had to make sure was less than your total staked amount. Otherwise, you didn't get any, you reached the cap and then no more rewards. So that was to encourage people to stake more, to earn more. So the staking amount that you've already received on the wallet, you're saying that will stay there. That's not the total that's getting cleared or reset to start this rebate program off. Is that correct?
Correct. So go
yeah,
ahead, Leo.
you'll hold on to your stake. So sorry, when I said cleared, I meant the kind of lifetime issuance running total, um, which lives on the I forget the exact name of the smart contract now, but basically one of the behind the scenes smart contracts, and that will be cleared. So whereas previously there was that cap, that will still continue to be, but it will just start from afresh this time around.
Yeah, and Nick makes a good point. And Ty, I had kind of planned on this already. Now that I have a better understanding how our smart contracts work, I plan on having, and with the whole UI thing that we're doing, upgrades, it's not going to be difficult at all to have a running total a GUI user interface that'll show that specifically. But you're right, we have to make sure it's difficult, right? Because this is a network specific incentive program, right? So we can't really show that total, your cap, quote unquote, I guess you would say, your hard cap on the app. Because remember, if you unstaked, right? The cap was always determined via block, not time. So it's that average based on the amount of blocks that you have, the amount staked. So there's, now that I have a better understanding of how the blocks work and everything, I feel pretty confident to build out a UI that helps with that, kind of like I was working on with Telex. So something we can talk with Anderson about also. Oh, go ahead, Parker, go ahead. Sorry.
So I would I when I think so when I initially came up with the idea for this sort of lifetime earnings cap for Tel rewards, the name for it was proof of alignment, because it's like disincentivizes mercenary service provision, um, it by ensuring that someone doesn't go out and just sell their rewards, and then they have to continue to keep that Tel staked amount of their lifetime and have it counted up for in terms of their Tel issuance rewards. I think it's probably beneficial to keep that. And
Sure,
the
something we
reason is
could look
that
at. Yeah.
it I think for the token, it's built out a very easily to calculate sort of threshold that people have that they need to maintain a stake above, and so you could effectively just start over all of that. Uh, just but if I was to put an amendment on it, that would be what I would do, is to maintain the lifetime uh, earnings, and that's all. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Leo, I get we could talk to Marcus about that. I don't think it would be difficult to do. That's still, that data should still be there. But Parker, just the other part too is that this is just a big, again, we'll obviously have amendments to this because it's kind of going to be ramped up as the network rolls out. So this is just kind of phase one, I guess you would say. But sorry, Leo, you came off mute. I kept going.
No, it sounds fair. Yeah, happy to discuss further. There can be arguments for both sides, I think. But yeah, let's look in depth a bit more with that and put it as an action for next meeting as well to discuss.
Yeah, we can run some stuff through for sure. Go ahead, Parker.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Any other comments? I'm going to check the stream chats really quick. I don't see anything so far. Okay, so if there's no other comments there, we'll do a little digging on that. Again, the whole purpose is, to Parker's point, is to ensure the lifetime issuance cap, and the purpose is to ensure that the amount of you have to stake Tel and continue to stake more and more Tel in order to be eligible for rewards, and that process is the same for across the ecosystem. So developers, regular users, you have to have this minimum or you're not going to be eligible, and that creates more and more locked LP essentially, or not LP, but tokens in order to earn more and more rewards. So becomes a kind of a perpetuating thing. But since I don't see any other questions, or is there any other in here? Anything else we want to go over? Okay, so I'll put that as an action item, just to do a little bit more digging on both sides, and we can kind of discuss it. And so with that said, we'll kind of implementation for this and rollout is still TBD because of stuff like this. We will post any finalized items on the forums, and if we'll do a vote or whatever we need to from that aspect too. So, but let's see. Moving on to the next topic. Let's get my screen up here. So this is and Leo, maybe you can talk about this a little bit more than I can, but I'll just give a brief overview. Looking over the budget for this coming year, one of the questions was what was the surplus carryover that we had as the TANCouncil? So you can see in here that we had about 164 million left over Tel on our budget. Obviously this was budgeted in year one with kind of some potential timelines and things rolling out, and I apologize, my son's all over the place. So that is a carryover into this next this next year. So there's not an additional year 3 issuance for us on the TANCouncil. We're carrying this whole 164 million over. Parker, do you know off the top of your head what the original, or maybe Leo does, the original year 2 issuance was? So just kind of what our usage was for the year.
That's a good question, actually. Let me look at it. Let me find it quickly, and I'll get
Cool.
back to you.
Okay, I'll just keep going then. Just to talk a little bit about where we're kind of going with this from the associations and the rationale, right? Going down to point 4 here, TANIP or TAN incentive architecture and evolution. TANCouncil depreciated the existing developer and staker incentive program in year 2, opting to redesign the incentive structure for optimal ecosystem growth. So that's kind of what we've talked about in this proposal previously. The purpose of that is really as a ramping mechanism into mainnet launch. The substantial year 2 carryover 164 million TEL remains available for deployment once new programs are approved and implemented. Additional incentives and provisioning budgets may be requested by the TANCouncil via the TEL-IP process. So that this is the starting point, but as we've seen, the issuance previously was a pool of 3.2 million per week, and we ran that over 30 weeks or so. So this is 164 million that we have for our rewards programs as we are seeing them right now. Doing some rough calculations, the burn rate on that or the usage rate on that for the TANIP rebate staking program will be potentially much less than the issuance that we had previously, because it wasn't just the way that the system's designed. It's not going to be percentage based. It's just your fees that you use. So to start, and then obviously we'll go from there. Any other notes that I'm missing here? Anybody on the budget that is for us? All right. Yeah. So this is essentially the budget process for this year. We'll be operating off of this 164 million. We'll be looking at the different rewards programs for that purpose and moving those forward for the community. So let's check and see if we have any other comments in the stream. And I don't see any so far. All right. If I've got none here, the next thing that I have just a brief reminder of is the just working on the pitch decks and developer documents. We're really trying to work through those items specifically to try to make sure that we've got things, including from a website perspective, we've got some things that are well designed and speak to exactly what we're trying to do with the association. So it's really important that we continue to push that forward, and that's one of our main objectives with that. So we're both talking with one of the companies that we're working on, and potentially the website items for that. We're looking at internally some documents and how we can retool those. But as always, if you have developers that you are looking to build on a blockchain, please send an introduction. There's many ways to get a hold of us from that aspect. It's very important that we continue to grow the ecosystem. We've had some, I know myself and Nick and a few others have had some great meetings with some developers and made some good introductory conversations. I know I've had two community members that have sent introductions that have produced meetings. So really, really positive thing overall. We want to continue that process and keep things moving in that direction. Let's see. There's a question in the chat.
Just wanted to
Go ahead, Leo.
Just wanted to fill in with the numbers about our budget. So
Yep.
In year 1 we were allocated 222 million. No, in year 1 we were allocated 166.6 million TEL. In year 2 we were allocated 55.5. So years 1 and 2 combined, that was 222 million TEL. And then and currently we've got 165. So net issuance from the TANCouncil has been about 60 million TEL. And yeah, it was actually kind of my suggestion to not give us any
No, I
additional
agree.
TEL this year. I think we've got plenty, and we can always ask for more later in the year through the TEL IP process,
Yep.
if we deem reasonable. So
Well, and
that was the
realistically,
rationale, and yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Leo.
No, just explain the rationale and the thought behind it. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean realistically too, with the network and what that potentially does to funds coming back into Treasury safes as well. But as to your point, if we ran 30 weeks, which is 3/5 of a year or so of the program, and we use that much TEL through the program, that can kind of give you an example of where we are, and that was 2 years worth. So yeah, I think I agree totally. There's a question in the chat, from Nick. How does this budget specifically impact Telcoin? I'm assuming, Nick, you mean the token itself. There's not. I guess I would say there's not a. If anything, it's a less about how it affects Telcoin and how it affects the network, because what it does is it's the incentive and rebate program for everybody, including everybody that's on the network. So the more actions done, this is essentially Telcoin that goes back into rewarding people that are contributing to the ecosystem. And that's kind of the whole purpose. That's the goal. So that's yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But please, if anybody else can elaborate if you want, or Nick, if you want me to ask if anything else that I didn't cover, happy to do that. Okay. So Nick asked, I understand the network effect, but are these tokens sold on the open market to fund? Obviously, we need to do it to launch. So I think, Nick, this 168 million is the rewards program. None of this is sold. So this is all, well, let me paraphrase that. The budget is specifically as defined for the TANCouncil this is primarily a rebates program. Now, will there be maybe a proposal that we put out to fund a initiative to develop something, or help us build something or something else like that? Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. That's all public and voted on. But this is primarily 168 million, 164 million TEL that is used as a rebate and rewards program. So it is the way it was done previously was airdropped to wallets based on those on-chain scripts and actions of individuals on the Telcoin application, and it would be the Telcoin network at that point. Does that answer your question? And obviously, Nick, I can answer it further and come back from that if we need to. Not a problem. Let's see. That is all of the items we had on the agenda. Is there anything else anybody in the meeting here wants to bring up to discuss, or anything we need to cover further?
I was gonna, talk a little bit about those ideas that I had for testnet and mainnet. I didn't know if that was, relevant or.
Absolutely, yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So yeah, I was talking to Derek on the side. I think maybe Blue as well. Derek, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Nick, Blue Lights, yep.
Yep. And so, I had went ahead last week. There's two ideas. I'm gonna hold back on the one for right now. But the first one is going to be kind of like just a little, blockchain guessing game, essentially. Every, time you connect, I'm going to, launch it on testnet and, test it out, and then, kind of like cycle it out to a few people that, can try it on their own. But basically, every time you connect your wallet or you refresh, the page, essentially you'll get a new randomly abstract generated picture that has 1,000 different squares on it. And you'll be able to pay, essentially either, TEL or EUSD, and, obviously look at other currencies in the, the future. But basically 90% of it will go to the pool. So people whoever guesses the randomly generated square every single time. If you get it, you get the money in the pool, and it keeps clicking over, right? 10% of it will be given back to the TAN, or the overall governance for us. And so yeah, that's just something I'm working on the side. Maybe I'll throw it out to some of you guys in the council, and we can mess around with it. Again, all in testnet right now on base essentially, but it works. It's pretty cool, it's fun. And then eventually I'm going to start working with Derek and Nick again, and we're going to look at doing a kind of like an ENS naming service for Telcoin. Obviously, we have something that can, with mobile phone numbers. Obviously, people are going to be able to send money just through your phone number. But if you'd like a traditional, like Cody.tel, for example, that is something that we were going to explore. So yeah, just something to look forward to. Cool applications, and just messing around.
Sounds awesome. Love it. Did you build the game yourself, the app?
Yeah, well, I worked with a friend of mine, and we, kind of messed with it. It was pretty simple. Again, it's, a simple contract, deposit USDC for right now. And then that gives you a guess to where then it'll take 90% of it, throw it into the contract, and then, 10% goes back to a dev wallet as of right now. So, but I think that, I'd like to build it out for, the Telcoin community, and then that money kind of helps as an additional source of revenue for the council to be able to not rely as heavily. Again, we already talked about excess tel issuance, but it would be nice to be able to continuously have maybe some revenue, even if it's not much. I think that it helps sustain us longer, if need be. Just one iteration too. It's just one game.
No, that's cool. Yeah, it's like squares mixed with Minecraft. It's kind of cool. I like it. All right. Any comments on that? I got a few questions in the chat, but Cody, thank you. That's just guys. I think for those listening, that's a great example of just this is an open EVM chain, right? So anyone can develop on the network. Anyone can do something like that and build it on the network. That's the whole purpose. Then there's other tiers and levels that are associated with being a developer that is in the incentivization, in this incentive pool. But that is a great example of somebody just coming up with an idea and building it on the on Telcoin network. So I appreciate Cody sharing that, because I think it's a great example of what can occur there. So really cool. Few questions, and this is probably one for either Leo or Parker. With the Telcoin network main launch coming, will the protocol support fully permissionless single asset staking for TEL or EUSD holders, like non-custodial delegation to validators, similar to Cardano's stake pool delegation model, or direct staking without any liquidity pairing?
Well, we already have direct staking, but in terms of staking on validators, kind of almost like liquid staking tokens, we haven't built out anything like that yet. Although there has been some discussion around it, but it would be way down the line kind of thing. But yeah, there is single-sided staking of TEL on the app, so hopefully that gets them what they want. It's not actually tied to validators, but you do have the chance to earn rewards there.
Yeah,
hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. And just a reminder, if there's an idea that you see or a concept, there's always anybody in the community can make a proposal about these things. I think that's an interesting concept and something that could be considered once we get further through mainnet launch. Obviously, that's a little bit outside of my knowledge base, but thanks, Leo, for answering that. Appreciate it. Let's see. Here's another question here about Will this work with XRP Ledger also? I don't know enough about that interoperability, honestly. But there is obviously as talked about in many of the council meetings with the platform and Treasury Council, and this I would recommend coming to the next one of those, which is next Thursday at 4 p.m. because the developers are specifically on those calls and they can answer a lot of those very specific questions. But chain interoperability, chain parallel chains is something that's planned, and I know I don't want to speak out of turn, but that is certainly protocols like that would have an integration pathway potentially. So
Yeah, it's XRP Ledger is EVM, so it's very likely that whoever we're integrating with for bridging will have that as an option at least.
that's good to know. I didn't know that.
If not provide it kind of natively. So they're likely to be connected, but I'm not fully versed on that stuff either. But as a guess, I'd lean towards yes.
Good question. Thank you. They said good to hear, so that's perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, we're at the Q&A section of the already, but is there any other questions that I can answer for anybody in the chat? Please ask. Anybody here on the council? I'll give it another bit here, and then we will. Doesn't look like there's anything else, so I think that can be it for today. We have some to-dos as the council for going back and figuring out some of the things that Parker had asked, and we'll post those to the forums too.
It was great having some questions from the community as well today, so keep it up, guys. It's not in vain. Yeah, it's great to have these sessions where we can have the questions and hopefully answer them. So
yeah, and there's some really good questions. Love it.
Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, thanks for asking. Thanks for being involved.
Nick, when is the next big announcement? You're just gonna have to keep an eye out, I guess, Nick. XRP Ghost asks, also will the development branch out into other state banks partners? So again, that side of the development, as a reminder, is Telcoin Holdings, which is not the purview of the Telcoin Association. So that's a great question, but one I would recommend getting. That's a question that would be asked for Telcoin Holdings and the bank side of things. So since it's not a network specific item, it's not something we're privy to answering at this point. But good question. I think Parker has elaborated on some of that stuff on some of the platform calls, and I know that has been kind of, when you talk about roadmaps and things, that's something that has been brought up in the past. So yeah, February should be a great month, Nick. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yep, I think that's it for today. XRP Ghost said, you guys are doing great things. Keep up the great work. So thank you guys. Really appreciate. This is probably as active as the chat has been in a while for one of our calls. So great to see. Thank you. But I think that is all the questions for today. If you have questions, if you have ideas for a proposal, please submit them on the association telcoin.org forums. We would really appreciate that. If you have a developer, anybody in blockchain that you think would be a good use case for us, please make sure that you connect them with us. You can email us this group or the developer group at devs@telcoin.org. You can reach out to any of us on socials or on Discord, and we're happy to assist however we can. So, but yeah, I think we'll adjourn it there unless anybody has anything else. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on the next one. Next council call is next week, Thursday at 4 p.m., and we'll see you then.
Later, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.